Welcome back, Soulful Society, to Soulful of Wellness,
the multi-generational podcast brought to you by two functional imperfectionists
and certified coaches
who deliver tips to live your most authentic, balanced, and anxiety-free life.
Great news, Soulful Society. We've re-upped our gratitude giveaway for April. This is your chance to win a free year-long subscription to the Calm app. Oh, I'm so excited for this giveaway. Thank you to our longtime listener, Kenny, for sponsoring this giveaway. Shout out to you for blessing us all with some good meditation vibes.
And listeners, this is easy peasy. All you have to do to win is leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify by the end of the month, just like Sadie Mac 23 did just last week. Thank you, Sadie Mac 23, for the 5 stars and for writing, and I quote, "Love listening to the great advice they give each week." We love hearing that, and you are automatically in the running to win that year-long subscription to Calm. So listeners, if you don't want Sadie Mac to be a shoo-in, you got to get on there and write us a quick review. Today, we're talking about getting organized because clutter and mess are linked to negative emotions like confusion, tension, and irritability. Yuck. While an organized environment tends to produce positive emotions like calmness and a sense of well-being. An organized space helps you have an organized mind. An organized mind helps you keep anxiety at bay.
We've been feeling the spring cleaning vibe lately, sort of pulling us towards organizing. That, coupled with the fact that the Home Edit came out with their season 2 on Netflix, and it has just got us inspired. You guys, I can't help it. It's just so satisfying to watch that I immediately get on Amazon and start buying a ton of Tupperware.
I think that affirmed what we already knew because we'd already mentioned getting your physical environment organized as an anti-anxiety or anxiety control tool in a few recent episodes, even before last week's episode when we specifically talked about the Home Edit and sort of did a side-by-side physical environment to mental organization comparison. So I think that was sort of the universe saying, yes, you're in with the collective whole.
Yeah, exactly.
So a few of you got in touch with us asking for a little more on this idea of getting the physical environment organized to get the mental brain, the whole inner workings organized to bring anxiety under control.
Yeah.
Or to help us get control when things are starting to feel just too dang much.
Too overwhelming. So we went back, way back in the archives to episode 27, which came out in September of 2020. It's called Creating Tranquility Through Organization, for some inspiration.
Kind of enjoyed what we talked about.
I was getting reinvigorated with those tools, and I was helping my mom organize her closet into rainbow order because that is just my favorite strategy. And I was listening to the episode because it has been coming up a lot lately in our episodes. The universe is just sending that vibe, that precious tool that can help us reduce the overwhelm that seems to be pervasive. I'm glad I'm not alone. And as I was listening, I was like, yeah, I actually really stand by these tips to this day. And it doesn't have to be fall. It's spring.
Right. So when you texted me and you said, go listen to the organizing episode and start taking some notes on what we could do if we wanted to do a more modern or an updated or what's new and different. And it's funny because we were both independently doing it and we both came back with the same feedback that I don't really think I'd change too much.
Yeah.
Don't know that we could really improve upon that at this point. And bonus, it's only 20 minutes. That was the other thing is I was like, we were pretty succinct. And I
Yes.
don't know that we're always succinct. So there's that for you. I guess one thing to mention that is actually kind of funny is when we were talking before going back to listen to that, we were saying like, oh, spring cleaning. It's the perfect time for getting organized, cleaning things out, getting rid of the clutter. And then right at the beginning, I think 1:15 into it, Kaylin says how it's fall and it's the perfect time to get grounded and get organized. So our takeaway from that is kind of maybe
Always
all times
good.
are good times to get organized.
It cracks me up. It's like in 2020, we felt that it was such a fall vibe. We're like, yeah, going with the seasonal wellness. And then we come around 2 years later in the spring, we're like, springtime, decluttering. Yeah.
Get it all fresh and
Spring
new.
cleaning. Right. Yeah, no. You can do this anytime. I think the takeaway is overwhelm will be reduced by organization, and the tips stand the test of time.
And it doesn't have to be the whole overhaul. The whole overhaul is amazing once it's done, but it's daunting before you start. So if you start with a drawer, start with a drawer. If you start with a cabinet or a closet, start with that. Doesn't matter. Start with one space, and when you can stand back and look at that and think, dang, that brings me peace. That was so worth it. That'll just inspire you to keep going.
Even if it is just making those returns for your online shopping, the boxes that are sitting there.
That's one of my things, though. I
have those piles.
Return. I'll give away before I'll return. I don't know what it is.
So without further ado, we hope that you enjoy our episode on organizing and how it can help you reduce anxiety and overwhelm now.
Happy listening, and we look forward to seeing you all again next week. Hello, Wellness Warriors. I'm Kit.
And I'm Kaylin, and welcome back for another week of So Full of Wellness. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for listening to us talk about decluttering. I tried to make it sound really peaceful.
Yeah, I felt that.
To evoke the feeling that you get when you declutter.
Usually what we talk about every week resonates with something that one or the two of us, mostly because I feel like we're on the same wavelength, like really creepily sometimes, or how we're feeling.
So would one of us bring something up and then the other one goes, oh my gosh, yes, we know we hit on a podcast topic for the week.
So we've been feeling, I've been feeling a little internally chaotic and just wanting to bring in that sense of peace. Like we talked about last week, fall is here. And fall just strikes me as the season to ground down and get organized. It feels like what more perfect time than the fall?
It's a time to clean it up. Where Kaylin's been struggling with some of that, well, I don't want to put words in your mouth. How would you describe?
No, go for it.
Okay, I was going to say of too much to do, too little time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I have been struggling with scheduling woes. Each morning, I review my calendar. I open it on my iPad. I open my phone, and I set little alarm reminders for the day. And I don't let myself do it ahead because I want to get all ahead and set it for the week. But I purposely do it very early, usually at about 7 o'clock in the morning, because it's my way of centering my mind for the day, getting present in this day. Here are your reminders so I don't have to have those, what time is it?
Yeah, I like that a lot because it's the notion of controlling the controllable, and that's what we want to do in talking about decluttering and organization and really what it can do for your wellness and for your mind and for mitigating stress and anxiety. Because I don't know about you guys, but I am feeling this heavy energy in the world right now. Obviously this whole year, but it's kind of coming to a head. I feel like everyone is extremely busy right now, and what better time to put in the time to add in some peace in your life and mitigate the anxiety by organizing.
And there seems to be a lot of change going on in people's lives and people's schedules and people's routines. And one change creates a domino effect.
Yeah.
I'm doing the best I can to have established routines that are within my control so that the things that aren't within my control, I can roll with it.
Awesome. So we're going to get to talking about methods and ways to declutter and organize your life, even more than just using bins and storage, which I'd love to get into. But also, like what you're referring to, Kit, is getting organized in terms of your schedule. Like all of this can really, really help with your general wellness.
Start small. The last thing we all need is another item on the to-do list. Everybody has email.
I hate email.
Love-hate relationship.
Like now we're all stuck with thousands of emails, and what a stressful situation to wake up to, especially every morning. So what can we do to get organized?
Clean out that email. Set aside 1 hour, even if you're the kind of person who thinks, well, I don't really care because they're electronic, so it doesn't stress me out. It doesn't cause anxiety.
No, like for me, those folders on the side of my Outlook, if they have a bunch of if it shows a bunch unread, that gives me the heebie-jeebies. And if you don't have folders, it's a wonderful trick.
And the ones that are red but that are just dead messages sitting there.
Yeah, it's just sitting there.
It feels so good when you take the time, and really honestly, anything over a year old, you should have flagged it or moved it to the important folder if you really still want it. Anything over a year old, probably don't need them. Get rid of them. It does more than just cleaning out your email. You get this sense of accomplishment, of peacefulness, of knowing that's done. You're starting from a point where it's all fresh and clean and good, and it's one little starting point that will inspire other decluttering in your life.
Do my favorite thing and color coordinate the emails too. That is super helpful, and you can see, red is urgent, orange can be done tomorrow, yellow is way less urgent, can be done in a couple of days. Like that could be a really helpful way to keep organized. And why are we even talking about this? Because disorganization and clutter bombards our brains with excess stimulation, stress, and it makes us feel like the work is never done. And when we constantly see emails, when we see piles of pieces of paper in our house, when we see clutter and piles of clothes and just a bunch of mess, like it signals to our brain like, oh, the work isn't done. So if we have systems in place, then we can have a sense of peace and order.
You said so many good things in there. I don't even know which to run with here. For one thing, your physical environment is so important. When you look around, your brain's getting activated and stimulated. And if you're looking at that dang pile of papers that you've been meaning to sort through, to deal with, to file, your brain gets this little reminder of, oh, that's still sitting there on your to-do list. You haven't done it yet.
Yes.
And it activates you a tiny bit. And then if you have more of those, yes, I know I need to get to, I haven't gotten to it yet. As you look around, you're seeing them all. At some point, you do have to make the time to deal with all those little parts of your physical environment.
What better time? Throw away all that junk. Like take a trash can. I just did this actually the other day underneath my sink in the bathroom. I'm like, whoa, what is going on here? It's a tornado in here because no one could see it. So I just shove it in there. And I put on a bunch of pump up music. I highly recommend that and like you said, Kit, start small, just like one little cabinet, one little corner, whatever. And it immediately clears your headspace. And here's what my analogy, my thought on this. It's fall. The leaves are shedding, they're falling. It's like same with your junk. Shed it, toss it, get rid of it.
It feels so good to just look around and see clean, empty surfaces. To me, that's really peaceful. But for people who like to see something, think of getting rid of the piles that are there or the papers that are there and putting something that makes you feel really good or really happy in that space.
Ooh, yeah.
Maybe it's a photo in a nice frame. Maybe it's a crystal or just something that when you look in that space, you feel happy.
Ooh. Okay, I'll tell you my two favorite things that like bring me peace and joy when it comes to declutterizing. There's a new word. Decluttering and organizing. Okay. One is color coordination. I'm obsessed with it. Always have been. Love a good bookshelf that's in rainbow order. I just did that recently. Oh, obsessed. It brings so much serenity to your brain because you're looking at these beautiful colors. And we know like colors evoke emotion. And, you know, I think orderly things evoke peace. Okay, second is is when you clean your drawers and like you can use like, if you don't want to buy them, you could use the top of a shoebox if it's like a thin one as a way like to organize things in your drawers. It's crazy. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like just containing the mess in the drawer.
Yes, containing. So if you make dividers of some sort, containers, spacers, you can do it with cardboard. That Amazon box that's sitting by the door to go in recycling, you can cut dividers. It doesn't have to be the fanciest, but it delineates space, showing the categorization. That was way fancier of a word than I needed there. Showing the categories of items in that drawer, and it makes it easier to maintain once you go to the effort of organizing a physical space. It's so much easier when you take a pair of scissors out of the drawer and then you're going to put them back in the drawer to put them in the correct space when it's delineated. Also, labels are wonderful, but you don't even have to go that far.
So I have a favorite quote of the day from Goop that I found when looking at some positive benefits to organization. Taking the time to streamline your space and organize your life is practicing a very important form of self-care.
So we said start small, start with your email. It's doable. Okay, now you're building some confidence in yourself and your abilities to do this. We're moving up now. Do a drawer, maybe the junk drawer in the kitchen. One of the drawers in your dresser. Do your sock drawer. Do your t-shirt drawer. Doesn't matter. Pick a drawer. We're still smallish. Pick a bookshelf. You know, not the whole wall of built-ins in the living room. Just the bookshelf in the office area that's 4 shelves. Take everything off. What can you get rid of? And maybe get rid of isn't throw it away. Then this is the part that I like because it's very grounding. It's very mindful. You're going to sort. By sorting, you are completely present. This is the part that you can't multitask. You could listen to music. Some of the parts you can listen to a podcast or a recorded book. This part, your brain really needs to be in the moment because when you're sorting, you really do need to think what goes with what for my life. Then you look at the space you have. How can you configure it? And then place them. There's also the forward-thinking aspect of it. How will I use this in the future? How does this align with my goals, what I want to accomplish? Plan what you want to do in that space with those items. So it's contributing to your wellness and your wellness goals.
For sure. I think of it as clearing your space is clearing your mind. Yeah, you're going to feel like a declutteredness in your brain. Like when things have their place and everything's neat and you have your systems for yourself, you're going to feel like your brain is kind of fighting with you less for, attention. And if this all seems overwhelming, I just think of it as like, okay, what can organizing do for your wellness? So you start thinking about that. That kind of stirs up some positive emotion in you and gets you excited. And then thinking about, okay, let's just start small, like one little corner, one thing at a time. And it can be fun. Like I love putting on a podcast or an album while doing it.
I love ways that once you do the planning to figure out how it's going to go, it's just maintenance. You just follow the system after that.
Yeah.
So here's a non-physical space decluttering. Organize your to-do list, or in my case, to-do list sticky notes. This morning I got, I think it was 4 different sticky notes that were all different to-do lists. Some of them had overlapping items, and I put them all together. I organized the to-do lists by work items, personal items, household, whatever makes sense to you. And without even crossing an item off the list, I still felt better already about my ability to tackle items on that list. All right, once you've built up a little belief in yourself and your abilities, we're ready to get a little bigger. Pick a closet, your car, a cupboard in the kitchen, bigger than a drawer, but not the whole kitchen, your refrigerator.
I've done it's so fun. It's actually so fun. So if you invest in yourself, like I got a few of those like plastic containers, did my research online, ordered them. Oh my gosh, I had a field day when they came in. I'd never thought of myself as an organized person. Like I try, but I was so excited opening the box and just knowing, ooh, like I get to get creative and contain all my stuff. So I did it in the fridge, and I now have sections that are organized. And now I put like my nuts and seeds in little containers and put them in the cupboard. And you guys, I don't know, I think it's just so aesthetically pleasing that it just got me so excited. Never expected.
Do you have containers in the refrigerator?
So I've opened like rectangular containers, and then in the cupboards I have containers that you can close for like,
I've never put containers into the refrigerator other than the containers that come with the refrigerator, obviously.
Oh, it's awesome.
So I do spend quite a bit of time realigning, because they have to be in rows and all the labels have to be facing out in the refrigerator and in the cupboard. And I put containers in the cupboard, but I've never put them in my refrigerator. I do not know why that has not occurred to me.
Have I not shown you? I'll FaceTime you later and show you.
Okay. All right. We're going to get even bigger. You ready to get even bigger?
Yeah, let's go.
Now, when you've tackled a few things, these larger things, which sound really daunting now, won't seem as daunting, we're going to go a whole room or the kitchen pantry.
I've done that.
That's a big one because you have to take everything out. You can't shortcut it. It's just going to take longer in the end. Take everything out, put it on the kitchen island, put it on the dining room table, look at everything you have, start sorting right there on the table, because then you need to look back at the space and think about accessibility, and you have to plan out what fits where, and then you get to put it all back.
It's the same with the closet. And the closet actually is like a pretty quick, like you put on music or your podcast and it's actually really fun. It's like a Saturday activity, I would say, because it keeps you in flow, and you're very mindful in the moment because you're just focused on that. So it's a good way to mitigate anxiety while you're decluttering, and then after you declutter, it's even better. And like you said, it's just up to maintenance at that point.
And then part of your reward is when you're finished and you stand in the middle and look. You look around. It feels so good. It is one of the highest forms of satisfaction. I love standing in the middle of the freshly organized room, knowing it's all done. There isn't a paper out of place. There isn't a smudge or fingerprint anywhere, and just being. Love that feeling.
Kit, I'm so relaxed from your tone of voice.
I'm channeling what I know it feels like.
ask yourself, what can organizing do for my wellness? Where do I want to start? We hope you're feeling inspired and excited because this is going to be really good for your mental health and overall well-being.
You need to think about your life, what brings you wellness, happiness, joy, peacefulness, and how you can support that through your environment and through organizing your calendar, organizing your email, organizing all the different components of life to make all the little parts of your wellness wheel easier to maintain.
So get to decluttering. Let's go. I'm excited. Thanks for joining us this week. Peace, love, and light.
Peace, love, and light.
The Soulful of Wellness hosts are certified health and wellness coaches. This podcast is intended to inform and entertain listeners on their wellness journey. This podcast is meant to enhance, not replace, listeners' care from doctors, therapists, or other medical providers. Soulful of Wellness.